I've unequivocally stated that Philip Chism battles a profound psychological turmoil, tormented by voices that whisper to him alone since he was merely 10 years old. Signs of depression manifest in Philip, yet they don't reach the threshold of a diagnosable mental illness. We must not let our biases lead us to seal the fate of a young boy with the weight of a lifetime in prison. The evidence is irrefutable. He is a murderer ensnared in the throes of insanity. Contrarily, until this juncture, no semblance of insanity has been observed. His awareness of the grotesque nature of his deeds speaks to a certain lucidity. This encapsulates the palpable tension that enveloped the courtroom during the trial of Philip Chism, marking it as one of the most fervently debated legal battles in the annals of American jurisprudence in 2013. At the heart of this storm was Philip Chism, a mere adolescent of 14 years. What unfurled and what nature of crime was committed? Dive deep with me into the intricacies of this case in today's video analysis. I'm Shannon 8X. Welcome to Cold Case Killers. The narrative unfolds with Philip Chism, a seemingly typical high school student, whose life took a dramatic turn upon relocating from Tennessee to Danvers, Massachusetts in the autumn of 2013. Born on January 21, 1999, Chism entered the halls of Danvers High School as a stranger, distinguished only by his exceptional talent on the soccer field. Yet his demeanor set him apart. Peers often labeled him as antisocial and out of place, a portrayal rooted deeply in the upheaval of his personal life. Amidst the tumult of his parents' divorce, Chism's transition to a new environment was marked by a pronounced withdrawal as he navigated his new surroundings with a cool, distant air. The story took a mysterious twist on October 22, 2013, when Danvers High School's coach Mike Chase received an unsettling call. One of the senior team members reported Philip Chism's uncharacteristic absence from practice and the team dinner. Concern for Chism's well-being mounted among his teammates, who had embraced the newcomer with open arms, worried about the friend they scarcely knew yet had come to care for. Simultaneously, the school community was plunged into further disarray by the disappearance of another individual, Colleen Ritzer, amplifying the existing concern. Ritzer, in stark contrast to Chism, was a beacon of positivity within the school. Esteemed and adored by all, her infectious enthusiasm and compassionate nature made her an invaluable presence. Her knack for transforming math class into an engaging and enjoyable experience was fondly remembered by her students. Despite Chism's aloofness, Ritzer approached him with unwavering kindness, recognizing and praising his artistic talents. Her offer of extra help for an upcoming test sparked a noticeable agitation in Chism, particularly at the mention of his recent move from Tennessee, a pivotal moment that might have influenced the dark turn in Chism's psyche. As the community grappled with their disappearances, a palpable sense of confusion and dread enveloped all. Efforts to piece together the events led to a harrowing discovery. Traces of blood in the school's bathroom, alongside Ritzer's belongings, and a blood-soaked recycling bin painted a grim picture. The investigation intensified, leading authorities to request access to the school's CCTV system in hopes of uncovering further clues. It was this crucial evidence that illuminated the chilling reality of Philip Chism's involvement. Surveillance footage, meticulously reviewed by authorities, revealed Chism's movements post-disappearance. Utilizing Ritzer's credit card for a cinema ticket and later stealing a knife, his actions painted a picture of calculated coldness. His capture by police on a routine check near Danvers in the early hours of October 23, 2013, marked a turning point. The discovery of Ritzer's belongings in Chism's backpack, coupled with his haunting admission upon questioning, led to a nightmarish revelation. Chism's chillingly indifferent "it's the girls" in response to questions about the blood on a found box cutter, and his directions to Ritzer's final resting place in the woods, laid bare the extent of his actions. The subsequent discovery of Ritzer's body, a scene that spoke volumes of the atrocity committed, confirmed the unthinkable. I will not detail the discoveries at the scene because they are beyond the imagination of an ordinary person. At this point, Philip Chism was almost certainly the murderer behind the case. However, this is a very difficult case to reach a conclusion because of two factors. The first is Philip Chism's age when he committed the crime. He was still underage. The second is his psychological state when committing the crime. As outlined in the previous section, reaching a conclusion about Philip Chism's crime is extremely challenging due to numerous factors. However, thanks to CCTV technology, the case has initially found some basis for Philip Chism's criminal actions. The security cameras at Danvers High School captured 14-year-old Philip Chism arriving at school carrying multiple bags, which he placed in his locker. Among the items in his bags were a box cutter, mask, gloves, and a change of clothing. This proves that Chism had careful planning and preparation in killing Colleen Ritzer. This is also one of the reasons why the prosecutor did not accept Chism's lawyer's defense that he was psychotic when he killed Ritzer. Subsequent developments further clarified Chism's suspicious behavior. The school's security footage revealed Colleen Ritzer leaving her classroom and heading towards the second-floor women's bathroom at approximately 2:54 p.m. Chism was then observed walking into the hallway, glancing in Ritzer's direction, before retreating back into the classroom and returning with his hood pulled over his head. He followed Ritzer into the bathroom while putting on gloves. It was clear that Chism had made careful preparations in advance, and no psychotic person could be so careful. Chism overpowered Ritzer into the bathroom. Chism then proceeded to rob Ritzer of her credit cards, iPhone, and her underwear, before raping and stabbing her 16 times in the neck with the box cutter, until a female student entered the bathroom at one point, but glimpsing someone partially unclothed with a pile of garments on the floor, she quickly left thinking they were getting changed. This further confirms that Chism showed absolutely no signs of psychosis at the time of Ritzer's murder. How could a psychotic person have enough sanity to hide the murder of others, the robbery of their property, and the rape of them? Clearly, this is a series of serious crimes that are committed continuously and with extremely careful preparation. According to CCTV, Philip Chism appeared in several different outfits throughout the crime, which police later said showed how he'd planned the murder in advance. At 3:07 p.m., Chism left the bathroom with a hood over his head and walked outside to the parking lot. When he came back in 2 minutes later, he was wearing a new white t-shirt. Chism's constant changing of clothes was intended to confuse the evidence, and people around him could become witnesses for his crime. The scariest thing is that Chism calmly moved around the school after killing Ritzer. It seems that Chism is extremely calm about taking another person's life. Chism then went back to the classroom in a different red hooded sweatshirt over his head, then returned to the bathroom at 3:16 p.m. pulling a recycling bin. He re-emerged in the white t-shirt and a black mask, pulling the bin with Ritzer's body toward an elevator and then outside of the school. It was thought that Chism would hide the corpse the way other murderers would do to erase the DNA on the victim's body. But the truth was not like that. He dragged the bin all the way to a wooded area behind the school, where he raped Ritzer's lifeless body, again but with a tree branch. Many people, as well as Chism's defense attorney, have cited this detail to claim that Chism is suffering from psychosis. But for some others, Chism's disgusting actions are a clever way to divert public opinion. With all his tricks and ruthlessness, Chism shows no signs of flinching, fear, or other unusual behavior. Certainly, he is not psychotic, but just pretending to avoid crime. So, cameras later captured Philip Chism re-entering the school, now wearing a black shirt and glasses, and carrying a pair of blood-stained jeans, marking the completion of his disturbing attire. Not a single CCTV video showed Chism's horror and panic. Instead, it was only coldness and caution in the entire process of harming Ritzer. Therefore, the police and prosecution can be completely sure that Chism was not agitated or psychotic when he killed Ritzer. This is also the premise for a series of long legal battles in the case. Immediately following the incident, Philip Chism was indicted on charges of murder, aggravated rape, and armed robbery. At his arraignment in Salem District Court, Chism was ordered to be held without bail. Due to the severity of the case, Chism and Ritzer's school had to close temporarily. Moreover, from the outset of the police investigation into Chism, all case files were sealed. In early November, Salem District Court judge denied a request from news organizations to unseal documents in the case of Philip Chism. The judge cited concerns about affecting an ongoing grand jury investigation and invading the privacy of the victim's family. His defense attorneys and prosecutors outlined their strategies, with Chism facing charges in adult or juvenile courts. The legal battle raised questions about juvenile criminal justice laws, with conflicting opinions from various officials. Chism's defense attorney challenged the court's decisions, including arguing the unconstitutionality of the state's youthful offender law. Despite these challenges, Salem Superior Court judge refused to have Chism tried as a minor. That's why Philip Chism's case immediately became a hotspot for the separation of powers. While the judicial and executive systems seemed to want Philip Chism to receive the appropriate punishment for his crimes, Philip Chism's defense attorneys and the legislature want to use Philip Chism to enhance their position in career as well as politics. And the consequences of this war have dragged on the case for nearly 2 years. By July 2014, while detained at a youth detention center, Chism, then 15 years old, exhibited alarming behavior. Mark Zanini, the prosecutor, detailed to a Boston juvenile court how Chism, ensuring he was unobserved, silently removed his footwear to stealthily approach his target along a corridor. He then trailed a 29-year-old female worker into the locker room at the Metro Youth Services facility in Boston. Armed with nothing but a pencil, Chism cornered the woman in the bathroom, where he launched a violent attack, employing the pencil as a weapon to pin her against the wall, throttling and striking her with his fists. The victim's attempts to scream were thwarted as Chism's strangulation technique effectively sealed her airway, Zanini narrated. The attack ceased only when the victim managed to free herself from Chism's grip, her screams alerting other staff members who intervened, pulling Chism away. The assault left the woman with significant injuries to her face, jaw, neck, and back, as well as a pencil-sized hole in her shirt, a stark testament to the violence she endured, with the pencil later discovered on the floor. As the case's dynamics grew increasingly dire for Chism, marked by his repeat offense, his defense attorney resorted to fabricating claims, alleging that Chism had been coerced into confessing by the police. These claims, however, found no favor with the court, dismissed in light of the compelling evidence against them. One by one, police recordings were introduced in court, unequivocally exonerating the investigators from any misconduct, and shining a light on the gravity of Chism's unrepentant nature and the threat he posed even while under detention. By the close of 2015, the case advanced with Chism facing trial as an adult on charges of rape, robbery, and murder. The selection of jurors was slated to begin on a Wednesday at Essex Superior Court in Salem, yet unforeseen delays emerged as Chism's defense mounted arguments regarding his mental capacity and his persistent refusal to attend court sessions. What began as a legal confrontation evolved into a complex psychological duel. A defense psychiatrist introduced testimony that Chism was under the influence of commanding voices and was experiencing a psychotic episode at the time of Ritzer's murder in 2013. A key defense witness, having engaged with Chism on 7 occasions prior to trial, revealed during his testimony that Chism believed he was a ninja during the act. The defense highlighted Chism's long-standing mental health issues, suggesting an early onset of his psychological disturbances. In a strategic move, Chism's legal team championed an insanity defense, claiming that auditory hallucinations drove him to commit the heinous act. However, this assertion was met with skepticism by the prosecution's experts, who challenged the authenticity of Chism's mental illness claims. They argued that while Chism may retreat into his imagination under stress, he clearly discerns reality from fantasy and showed no signs of being ensnared by delusions. Despite Chism's engagement with a multitude of psychological assessments post-murder, a prosecution expert pointed out the simplicity with which mental illness can be simulated. This assertion cast doubt on the defense's portrayal of Chism as mentally unstable, suggesting a calculated act of deception. Amidst the legal and psychological skirmishes, an unusual request was made by the defense to the judge to restrict courtroom attendees, apart from Ritzer's family, from wearing pink. This plea aimed to ensure fairness and equality within the trial's proceedings, as pink was known to be Ritzer's favorite color, a detail the defense feared might sway emotional bias. This aspect of the trial underscored the intricate balancing act between seeking justice and navigating the profound human emotions at the heart of this tragic case. After a long period of litigation and legal battles, the case finally came to an end. The case was only concluded by the court at the end of February 2016. Philip Chism was officially sentenced to at least 40 years in prison for the rape and murder of Ritzer. The crashing waves of this tragedy will never wane, Salem Superior Court Judge David Lowy said, as he was handed down a sentence of 25 years for the murder and 40 years and 1 day for raping and robbing Ritzer. Those sentences will be served concurrently, in other words, at the same time, which means Chism will not be eligible for parole for 40 years. Since he committed the crime when he was 14, he will be in jail until he's at least 54 years old. Chism showed no emotion as the sentence was read. Even though Chism was convicted, Ritzer's family still cannot overcome the pain of losing their beloved daughter. They also filed multiple requests for retrial, but the result remained unchanged. But fortunately, Colleen Ritzer's family and friends found a new ray of hope to continue living. They established a scholarship for students planning to pursue a career in education in her name, the Colleen Ritzer Scholarship. In the end, no one can be sure whether Chism's psychology is truly disordered or not, but the unfortunate tragedy that his actions left behind is the result of an incomplete family and an inadequate educational environment. Sexuality lacks openness. In addition, the U.S. system of separation of powers also revealed many fatal weaknesses in this case. When Chism was brought to trial, it had to drag on for years, and the final conviction seemed not enough to regain justice for the victim. Because more than anyone else, we can see that Philip Chism never regretted and even intentionally repeated his terrible crime. Don't forget, I'm Shannon 8X, and thank you so much for